Hi YouTube friends, this is MM here, MM Pour. I decided to add my own twist to SJ's little homebrew videos that he does and his barbecue videos that he does. He's not the only one in the house that likes to cook and do things like that, so you've seen me join him sometimes when we've been making things at the camper. We're at home this weekend and I'm going to be putting together a Venison Tequila Chili this evening, so I thought I would share some of that with you guys. Also later on, probably in a separate video, I'm going to be putting together a marinade for some wild pheasant. So it's sort of a wild game week here at our house, and just thought I'd share a little bit of what I do in the kitchen when I'm creating things. I'm not a master chef by any stretch of the imagination. I learned to cook from a mom who was born and raised in the southwest corner of Virginia, so things tend to have a kind of a southern flair with me. I'm also bad when it comes to actually measuring things and measuring cups and measuring spoons, so you have to bear with me. A lot of times I just tend to throw things until they look good, but I'll do my best to try and keep up with what I'm adding and what I'm putting in. So to get started this evening, we're going to, this is about 1.5 pounds of ground venison, courtesy of our oldest daughter's boyfriend. He has been kind enough to share some of the wild game that he's been getting this year with us, because SJ hasn't had a chance to go hunting. It's much appreciated. So this is about 1.5 pounds of ground venison. We're going to also be adding, that's going to go in a skillet with some olive oil that I have over on the stove to brown up. To that I'm going to add 2 green bell peppers chopped up, 1 large white onion that's going to get chopped up. There's going to be I'm going to dice up a jalapeno pepper. I'm also going to dice up a couple stalks of celery to go in there as well, and that's all going to go in the skillet with the olive oil, and it's going to cook up. We're going to get the venison done and let the vegetables kind of soften up a little bit. This is a little different than my usual chili recipe when I make it with beef, so it's you might see a couple of things in here that you might not ordinarily think about with chili, like the celery for one, but it gives it a good flavor. So stick around. I'm gonna do some chopping and dicing and get some things going in the frying pan, and we'll check in a little bit and see how things look. Alright, so I've gotten the onion, green peppers, celery, and jalapeno chopped up, and it's now in the skillet with the venison browning. I added about between 2 and 3 tablespoons of olive oil to the bottom of the skillet before I put the venison in, because I can tell you from using some of this previously, there is no fat in it. It is very lean. So I added some oil to it just to kind of keep things from sticking and whatnot. I am going to put a lid on that and let it brown up a little bit. I'm going to add, while it's browning, I have about 3 pretty good size, like I guess normal size cloves of garlic that I'm going to run through the garlic press and get some garlic in there going. I'm going to put, about, like I said, about 3 cloves of that in there. I'm also going to put in a little fresh ground black pepper. Again, here's my issue as far as, don't really measure, just kind of go till it looks good. I'll add the majority of the seasonings actually into the pot once I get ready to transfer this over with the tomatoes and the red beans. So that looks pretty good for right now. And I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in there. The only kind of like spice at this point in time that I'm going to add is a little bit of Cajun seasoning, and this is just a regular blend of, I mean, you can get Chachere's. This is the Louisiana style It's just pre-mixed, comes in a shaker. You can probably get it just about anywhere. It's kind of like, I think it just gives things a little bit of an extra kick. That was probably maybe teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half just in with the meat while it's browning. Alright, we'll let that brown up. I'm going to get together what goes in the pot. This is the chili pot. That's what everything's going to go in to simmer. While the venison and veggies are browning over there in the skillet, I'm going to get this part ready. And for this part, this is the can part, I use, and I know there's always a huge debate, chili purists say no beans in your chili. Well, I like beans in my chili. So, there's beans in my chili. Forgive the camera angle, I'm not used to this. So anyway, there's beans in my chili. I use 3 cans. For this particular recipe, the beans that I use are just light red kidney beans. I use 3 cans of those. 2 cans of regular diced tomatoes and 2 cans of tomato sauce. They're going to go in. I use juice and all. I don't drain the beans, I just put them all in. Put that in there. Now, once I get this all together, I may end up adding a 3rd can of tomatoes. It'll depend on how it looks after I get everything else in there. And 2 cans of tomato sauce, 2 smaller cans, so that these are 8-ounce cans, so it would be 2 8-ounce cans or 1 16-ounce can of tomato sauce. And in this particular recipe, I'm also going to add about 3/4 of a cup of tequila. And this tequila is a Familia Camarena tequila. I don't know, I figured I was cooking with it, so I'd shoot for something kind of mid-range. Didn't think I needed $80 tequila to make chili, and figured $8 tequila would probably make my chili taste like ass. So this one sort of fell in the middle. So we'll see how it goes. So this is going to be, we're going to go with about around 3/4 of a cup. And that's going in the pot too. Whew. Now once the burger and veggie mixture gets ready, I'll add that to this, and it's at that point in time that I'll add my spices. And I'm going to put together my spice mixture and we'll check back in and see how it looks. So the vegetables and the meat are just about ready to go into the pot with the tomatoes. So I figured I'd put together the spices, and before I got too far and forgot what I was doing, I actually was trying to measure them out so this would make sense in case anyone actually does really want to try this. So in here so far I have 4 tablespoons of chili powder. I have a 1/2 tablespoon of paprika. I have 2 teaspoons of crushed basil leaves. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cumin. And this is actually seed form, so what I do with this is I actually crush it up in my hand to release the flavors. I'm going to add about that's not a full tablespoon of salt. I might add a little bit more. Yeah, see, that's the part I'm bad at. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of black pepper, and then something that I put in my chili that probably a lot of other people don't. I'm adding about 1.5 teaspoons of Old Bay. And that is my chili spice mix. And that'll go in the pot with the meat and the vegetables and the tomatoes, which is coming up next. This is the finishing product of the ground venison, green peppers, onions, celery, jalapenos, and the little bit of seasonings that I add with the beef when it's browning. So this is actually to the point now. The onions and celery are both getting pretty translucent. So this is to the point now where I want to add it to the pot with the tomatoes, beans, and tomato sauce that we mixed earlier, and have the spice mix ready too. This is all going to go together into the chili pot. We'll give it a stir, see what it looks like. At that point in time, that's when I might decide to add one more can of tomatoes, like I mentioned earlier. Not sure yet. I want to see how it looks. I said earlier that this, I added some olive oil to the bottom of the pan because this is venison and it has like no fat. Most of what's in the bottom of the pan right now is just liquid from the vegetables. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's no fat skim on there at all. That's just basically water cook-off and a little bit of the olive oil. So I'm still going to use a slotted spoon to kind of get most of that out of there. Get it transferred over without making a giant mess. Which when I cook is impossible. But I'm not going to worry about having it super drained because I don't have really any fat in there to worry about at all. And apparently this smells good already, from what I've been told. Once I get all this in here and together, I'm going to start this cooking at about a medium heat just to get everything going. And once it really starts to bubble up for me, then I'm going to kick it back to simmer. And it's going to simmer. If we wanted to eat it tonight, we could. I'd let it simmer for about an hour and a half. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it simmer for about that length of time, then I'm going to turn it off and let it cool down. Stick it in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow morning it's going to go in the crock pot. And it'll go in the crock pot on low, and I'll just let it simmer on low for the day, and we'll have this tomorrow night for dinner along with some jalapeno cornbread. Seasonings in there. Mixed around. I'm thinking we're probably good. I don't think I'll add another thing of tomatoes. It just depends on how tomatoey you like your chili. But I think that's going to be pretty good. I don't want to kill the taste of the venison with too many tomatoes. Alright. That on, let it get to cooking. We'll kick it back to simmer, let it simmer for about an hour and a half. Stir it every once in a while just to make sure it doesn't stick. And we'll give it a taste test in a little while. Okay, that's it.